Welcome to Cars and Diplomacy. Our today's topic is about ancient Indian diplomacy. Ancient India was home to an equally sophisticated but very different diplomatic tradition. This tradition was systematized and described in the Arthashastra, one of the oldest books in secular Sanskrit literature, by Kautilya, a clever and reputedly unscrupulous scholar-statesman who helped the young Chandragupta to overthrow Macedonian rule in northern India and to establish the Mauryan dynasty at the end of the 4th before century. The ruthlessly realistic state system codified in the Arthashastra insisted that foreign relations be determined by self-interest rather than by ethical considerations. It graded state power with respect to 5 factors and emphasized espionage, diplomatic maneuver, and contention by 12 categories of states within a complex geopolitical matrix. It also posited 4 expedients of statecraft: conciliation, seduction, subversion, and coercion, and 6 forms of state policy: peace, war, non-alignment, alliances, shows of force, and double dealing. To execute policies derived from these strategic geometries, ancient India fielded 3 categories of diplomats: plenipotentiaries, envoys entrusted with a single issue or mission, and royal messengers, a type of consular agent similar to the Greek proxenos, who was charged with managing commercial relations and transactions, and 2 kinds of spies: those charged with the collection of intelligence and those entrusted with subversion and other forms of covert action. Detailed rules regulated diplomatic immunities and privileges, the inauguration and termination of diplomatic missions, and the selection and duties of envoys. Thus, Kautilya describes the duties of an envoy as sending information to his king, ensuring maintenance of the terms of a treaty, upholding his king's honor, acquiring allies, instigating dissension among the friends of his enemy, conveying secret agents and troops into enemy territory, suborning the kinsmen of the enemy to his own king's side, acquiring clandestinely gems and other valuable material for his own king, ascertaining secret information, and showing valor in liberating hostages held by the enemy. He further stipulated that no envoys shall ever be harmed, and even if they deliver an unpleasant message, they should not be detained. The region within which this system operated was separated from its neighbors by deserts, seas, and Himalayas. India had very little political connection to the affairs of other regions of the world until Alexander the Great conquered its northern regions in 326 before century. The subsequent establishment of the native Mauryan Empire ushered in a new era in Indian diplomatic history that was marked by efforts to extend both Indian religious doctrines, Buddhism, and political influence beyond South Asia. The Mauryan Emperor Ashoka was particularly active, receiving several emissaries from the Macedonian-ruled kingdoms and dispatching numerous Brahman-led missions of his own to West, Central, and Southeast Asia. Such contacts continued for centuries until the ascendancy of the Rajput kingdoms, as to the 13th century Anno Domini, again isolated northern India from the rest of the world. Outside the Khalaj dynasty and other Dravidian kingdoms of South India, which continued diplomatic and cultural exchange with Southeast Asia and China, and preserved the texts and memories of the Arthashastra, India's distinctive mode of diplomatic reasoning and early traditions were forgotten and replaced by those of its Muslim and British conquerors.